Part 11. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 101. Chapter 101. It doesn't matter if the movement is louder. Captain Sarutobi, Lord Sakumo. Enlightenment bowed to the two big brothers, Commander Sarutobi and Captain smiled lightly. Wu, you don't need to be too polite. Speaking of which, we are still of the same generation. I have heard a lot of reports about your activity. Don't dare, Captain, you two have serious faces, and the atmosphere has become serious. Satoru spread his hands, and Heitake Sakumo smiled at him and nodded. Wu, you are doing a great job ahead, we have already received many of your achievements. Heitake Sakumo saw that Satoru was still a child, and praised. And when you came back this time, you actually crossed the sand-hidden defense line without causing any movement. It's really amazing. Welcome back. No, I'm the only one coming back. Wu's words made the faces of the two big men change. Fortunately, Wu continued to say. The three of them are fine. I have something important to report to the captain in person, so I crossed the Seiin defense line alone. Captain Sarutobi and Heitake Sakumo looked at each other, seeing the solemnity in each other's eyes. What information? Report it now, Shuomao has enough authority. Sarutobi commander's order made Wu look at Konoha in surprise. Heitake Sakumo is naturally qualified to obtain high authority in terms of strength, but in terms of status. Captain Sarutobi is the right-hand man of the third Hokage Hirozuru Sarutobi, and his will is the will of the third Hokage. In other words, Sandai Hokage, at least for now, doesn't care much about Heitake Sakumo's lack of background. Yes, Captain. Wu told the two big brothers exactly what he had experienced during this period of time. The trophies he brought, especially the wreckage of the puppets, gave him the strongest evidence for his claim of annihilating the enemy's hunting squad. Then, Wu explained the purpose of coming. Captain, Sakumo-sama, I judge that Sahik will not pretend that nothing happened. They are not only targeting us who have caused them a lot of trouble. Enlightenment pointed to himself, they also took a fancy to our team's blood successor limit. Indeed. Captain Sarutobi pondered for a moment, and said a piece of news that made Wu's face darken. It's not just you, brothers Hyuga Hyazu and Hyuga Hinata, their team was also ambushed by Sagakure Jonin. Heitake Sakumo shook his head resignedly. The young heir of the Hyuga clan came to the battlefield, and what it means, Tsunakoshi is naturally very clear. And this time, at a critical moment, Akimichi Maru did not hesitate to use the three-color magic pill secreted by the Akideo family. Having said that, seeing Satoru's ugly face, Heitake Sakumo hurriedly comforted him. You have a very good relationship with the heir of the Chiyu Taoist family, we know that. Don't worry, with your flashing scroll, Akimi Shimaru avoided the fatal attack. He has not eaten the third red magic pill yet. He was rescued by Namikaze Minato in time, and he is resting now. He's also Jireya's disciple, and Uncle Tsunade's nephew. Even if Tsunade is not around, we will do our best to treat him. Captain Sarutobi patted Wu on the shoulder. From his point of view, Wu's concern for this junior who didn't have a good relationship with him was simply the perfect embodiment of the will of fire. That's good. Wu breathed a sigh of relief. Anyway, he was also a child who called himself Big Brother, how could he not care? How did they escape in the end? Judging from the words of the two big brothers, they should have gone through a very tough battle, and when will such an ambush work against the two pairs of white-eyed Hyuga team? Is Bian's open map effect a decoration? They disguised themselves as civilians from the land of rain, mingled with the crowd and set up an ambush. With Heitake Sakumo's soft words, Satoru fell silent. After a long while, Wukei snorted softly. It seems that stinky bastard Hyuga Zuzu has a bit of conscience. In the end, it was Jireya's disciple, Namikaze Minato, who summoned the toad from Mt. Miyagi with psychic magic, and saved them from danger. Having said that, Heitake Sakumo touched his chin, thinking deeply. Should I also find some psychic beasts? You are already so strong, if you come to the psychic beast again, do you want us to live? Captain Sarutobi rolled his eyes at Heitake Sakumo, smiled wryly and shook his head. Shayin village is eyeing all three of Konoha's blood successor boundaries, and there are two in Wu's team. Ashimaru and the others are fighting with Hanzo's army in the land of the rain, so please go there yourself and bring Wu and them back. No problem, I came to the front line, of course, to go to the battlefield to perform missions. Discussing tactics with you here makes me feel uncomfortable. The relationship between Heitake Sakumo and Captain Sarutobi seems to be good, which is something that Satoru never thought of before. Then, Wu, it's not too late, you and Chuomao are leaving now. Captain Sarutobi's expression turned serious. He is now giving the order as a front-line commander. Enlightenment, your team has such a strong combat effectiveness, so there are additional tasks. Commander, please speak. When you come back. A stern look flashed across Yuanfei's eyes. Follow Shuomao, tear a hole in the Saiyan defense line, and come back. I will take the opportunity to send troops to respond. Taking advantage of this opportunity, at least the Saiyan defense line must be retreated another 10 kilometers. Yes, Captain. When coming, Wu used the abnormal mobility of the raven form to fly over swaggeringly, but when he went back, he couldn't do it. But he is much more confident than when he arrived. With Konoha leading the team, what else is there to be afraid of? Although the team did not bring a third person for the fastest support, the combat effectiveness of the duo was far stronger than Wu's four-member team. Rope trees, Mikoto and Nanoyo bundled together were not enough for Konoha to chop with a few knives. Wu-jun, your, food creation technique, although I have heard of it for a long time, but this is the first time I have experienced it. Heitake Sakumo put the last cream puff in his mouth, licked his fingers reluctantly, and then suddenly came to his senses, and solemnly clenched his fists against his mouth, coughing lightly. That, being able to enjoy such a delicious snack during the mission really helps to regulate the tension. You have a fast knife, and what you said is right. Heitake Sakumo's address to Satoru has become much more friendly, and now they have approached the sand-hidden line from the front. In Shayin's line of defense, there are sentient ninjas sitting in command, therefore, it is almost inevitable that we will be discovered. Heitake Sakumo put on a serious face. Even though Satoru is already very good, and he is still a disciple of Orochimaru, he is still a rookie. Therefore, a tough battle is inevitable. This is different from the detours you took when performing missions before. In order to meet your team as soon as possible, we need to advance in a straight line. Will there be too much movement? Wu Ya grinned in pain. He never heard that Konoha is still a violent person. It doesn't matter, perception ninjas can't tell our identities at this distance. As long as all the guys in the future are killed and break out of the range of perception, our whereabouts will not be revealed. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 102. Chapter 102 Killing Through the Line of Defense. It's really simple and rude. Satoru didn't have any opinion on this, it's just that when he saw Heitake Sakumo's gentle smile, he always had a strong desire to complain. A true person cannot be judged by his appearance. Wu-jun, you should have no problem keeping up with my speed, and your self-protection ability is also very strong, so I won't pay special attention to you later, if it's not an emergency. No problem. The Mage's Eye has discovered that there is a Sand-yin team ahead to investigate. Wu smiled slightly and began to mourn for the unlucky Sand-yin ninjas. Oh. It was discovered so quickly. It seems that the pressure on the defense line needs to be strengthened. They still have plenty of manpower. Heitake Sakumo stopped in his tracks, apparently also discovering the sand-hidden squad that was rushing towards him. He slowly drew out the chakra dagger with a slight white glow on his back, the gentleness on his face was gone, and it was replaced by a chill. Wu-jun, keep up, it started. Yes. Konoha White Fang showed his strong strength to firmly suppress the three of Orochimaru. With Wu's ability, he couldn't even find out when Sakumo Hatake cut the first sand ninja who spurted blood from his neck and flew out. The hand holding the icy spear froze. Wu realized that Hatake Sakumo's attack speed was surprisingly faster than Bayu's attack speed. This is the true strength of the top elite Jonin. Instinctively, there is a sense of tension when seeing a high-end thief, a stalker, Hatake Sakumo's fast attack speed, wonderful sword skills, and strong pressure against the enemy. Against a combination of at least 3 Chunin on the opposite side, it is really one knife for one child. Seal. Nothing like that. With absolute speed and precision, Hatake Sakumo didn't need to waste chakra on these small characters. Too strong. Satoru's originally restless heart suddenly fell silent under the powerful visual impact of Hatake Sakumo. I've been a little drifting lately, it's more serious to settle down and prepare a few whole cards. The progress of Medivh's book has been deciphered to 50%, Wu's magic strength has been enhanced in all aspects. But he also found that from 50% onwards, the interpretation of the book of Medivh became more and more difficult. It can be said that the latter 50% of the content is the most difficult part for a mage, from an arcane user to becoming an arcane master step by step. Not only is the spell model more complex and difficult to analyze, but it has also begun the process from what to why. Not only does it need to learn, but it also needs to draw inferences from one instance. Hatake Sakumo opened the way ahead, while Gaku was silently thinking about the next development plan. The war still needs to go on for many years. It is impossible to concentrate on research during this period of time, so it is necessary to repeatedly consolidate the foundation. It is important to master powerful magic, but it is also very remarkable to play basic spells to the fullest with the fighting style of ninjas. Melee combat is always my shortcoming. The casting time needs to be kept as short as possible. And these can all be honed in war. But there is one more thing. Satoru followed Hatake Sakumo, who seemed to have nothing happened, and continued to move forward at high speed, while thinking about the current situation. If you can cast the representative spell of a mage, teleportation, or even a portal, this is the whole card that can turn the situation around. However, the reason why teleportation spells can be cast by even a moderately powerful mage in Azeroth is because Azeroth is full of magic nets that the Kirin Tor Council spends a lot of money to maintain. As for the portals that can only be opened in a few fixed places, that's because the Kirin Tor's magic net maintenance costs in those places are paid by local forces. However, powerful archmages are completely exempt from this restriction. Their own arcane knowledge and attainments can support them to summon portals to any place at will. So, if you want to cast teleportation spells in the ninja world where there is no magic net, the accumulation of arcane knowledge is essential, but if it is fixed point teleportation, there is still hope. The method of fighting in and out from the enemy's defense line is of course a helpless choice. If it can be done quietly, Hatake Sakumo doesn't want to go on a killing spree. And imagine opening a portal from a frontline base to a target location and being there in the blink of an eye. What a wonderful experience. It is more convenient than the technique of flying thunder array. It seems that we still need to find an opportunity to study the technique of flying thunder god. The marking ability of this thing is really good if it can be used to replace the positioning function of the magic net node. There is hope for the fixed point portal. But when thinking of Flying Thunder God, Wu inevitably thought of Blink. Compared with Flying Thunder God, the cooldown time of the Blink technique, which Satoru spent a lot of effort to improve, has been shortened a lot, but compared with Flying Thunder God's no CD, it is still far behind. Then, the next goal is to completely remove the CD of Blink, otherwise, if Minato learns to fly Thunder God, I won't be embarrassed. After confirming the direction of his future efforts, Wu's mood became better. The time is still very long, which great mage is not the rich experience accumulated through continuous research and practice, and this starting point is already considered a rare high. Oh. Woojun, you haven't made a sound for a while, is there something on your mind? Heitake Sakumo obviously did not pay attention to non-emergency situations as he himself said. Probably that was just a test for the juniors. Master Shuomu, I was just thinking, if I were to fight against you, how would I be able to escape from your sword skills really scared me. Wu smiled wryly, this wasn't entirely a lie, he did have this idea when he saw the white sword light flashing. You probably know my teleportation technique, but even so, I'm not sure about escaping from you. My reaction ability is far from enough. You are still young, Woojun, even if you are a true genius, the growth of strength needs to be gradual. Heitake Sakumo smiled gently. To his own people, especially the younger generation he admired more, Konoha Shirato, who made the enemy fearful, was really a very friendly and gentle person. If you have Thunder Attribute Chakra, maybe you can learn the Thunder Escape ninjutsu of cell activation. Although Yunyan village is relatively famous for this technique, I am somewhat proficient in it. After a moment of enlightenment, it became clear that Heitake Sakumo's extreme speed also had traces of ninjutsu in it, and Yunyan's secret transmission of the Thunder Escape Chakra mode is one of the most famous ninjutsu. But Konoha obviously used his own exclusive secret, not only that. Master Sakumo, do you still have the Shadow of Wind Chakra in your sword skills? Heitake Sakumo nodded appreciatively at Satoshi's words. That's right, wind and thunder are the two nature changes I mastered first, and they are also more suitable for coordinating with body skills and sword skills, so I have studied them more deeply. It's just, there has never been a blood succession limit formed by these two types of changes in the ninja world, and I can only cooperate with them. Taking a deep look at Satoru, Heitake Sakumo frankly showed a hint of envy. So, Wu, you were able to develop the ice escape by yourself. When I found out, I was really surprised. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 103. Chapter 103 Emergency Situation. Hearing Heitake Sakumo's self-report, Gozei was very surprised. It turns out that in the legend of Konoha Hakuga, Heitake Sakumo's strongest is his sword skills. As for the short chakra knife White Fang, although it emits a hazy white light, it is actually not a very powerful magic weapon. It can be seen from the fact that Kakashi used this short knife later that it was damaged in the battle, it is just a relatively sophisticated chakra weapon. In the hands of Sakumo Heitake, it is White Fang, which also shows how strong Sakumo Heitake's sword skills are. But the other abilities he has mastered are still unknown to the public. There is neither representative and powerful ninjutsu, nor weird and unpredictable illusion. If saber arts can replace body arts to a certain extent, Heitake Sakumo, who is so strong, does not have the ultimate move like the 8 gates of body arts. So why is he so strong? During Wu's observation all the way, Heitake Sakumo's move, except for one fast, which makes people unable to react quickly, is accurate and extremely precise. Even if he is moving at high speed, he will never cut his neck. Clavicle. In addition, the power of the slash is also an unnoticed but actually very important point of Heitake Sakumo. The blade of White Fang is very short. In Heitake Sakumo's hands, it is not so much a knife as a long dagger. But Satoru saw with his own eyes the scene where Heitake Sakumo used White Fang to cut through giant trees, rocks, and the enemy ninja behind them. And this is definitely not Sakumo Heitake's full effort. And after killing several waves of enemies, Heitake Sakumo didn't even change his breathing, he didn't consume much chakra at all. Therefore, Orochimaru, who is good at all kinds of ninjutsu and secret techniques, Jiraiya, who has inherited senjutsu and is proficient in various psychic arts, and Tsunade, who has super destructive power, will be in awe of Heitake Sakumo. 3 points. Combined with the powerful knife technique of far and near, combined with Feng Dun, the high-speed teleportation technique and reaction ability blessed by Thunder Dun, the powerful destructive power and endurance obtained by extremely precise chakra control, and the precision strike ability that is tempered and instinctive. There are also superb camouflage and concealment techniques. This is the strength of Konoha White Fang. Proper top-level assassination thief, the stalker template, the strongest anti-personnel treasure. In Heitake Sakumo's unpublished information, I am afraid that there will never be fewer beheading missions to assassinate important targets of the enemy. I'm not good at violent destruction of sieges and villages, but when it comes to heads up, hee. Your strength, combined with the bleeding and boundary, do you still want ordinary ninjas to live? Imitating the tone of Captain Sarutobi, Satoru shook his head regretfully. Bing Dun still exists, at least in the history of the ninja world, but as for Lei Dun and Feng Dun, I have never heard of the name of the fused blood succession limit, and it has no direction at all. Hee, I'm not very good at those powerful ninjutsu, but the sword technique is more suitable for me. Heitake Sakumo is quite open-minded. Although blood successor limit is strong, he is not a ninjutsu genius. With so many ninjas who have the nature of wind and thunder, how many of them have blood successor limit? Even the third generation of Hokage, known as the ninjutsu professor, whose strongest method is the 5-attribute compound ninjutsu that uses the cycle of property changes to increase, has not fused even a blood succession limit. He was just amazed at Wu's talent and research and development ability. Such ability can strengthen the foundation of a great power. Several waves of enemies have been killed. With our speed, we will be able to break through the line of defense in less than half a day and get out of the sensing range of the sensing ninja. Heitake Sakumo stopped continuing on this topic, but became vigilant. But now they shouldn't give up the pursuit, there should even be a stronger team coming over. Our route of travel is a straight line. If the perception ninja is not a fool, he can tell it apart. Unless they have a more important goal. Wu's expression suddenly became serious, he snorted coldly, and said coldly. Rope Tree and the others have moved their positions. What? Heitake Sakumo stopped in his tracks. How long did it take before something happened? What happened? Before I came, I left a shadow clone over there, and just now, the shadow clone disappeared in the battle. I already know everything they went through. Satoshi's words made Heitake Sakumo nod silently. Of course he is very clear about this characteristic of the shadow clone. Although it is not clear how Satoru manages to keep the shadow clones so far apart for such a long time, but now is obviously not the time to ask. In the Jonin squad that hunted down our team, the puppet master seemed to have arranged a special method. After he died, a certain puppet left by him at the headquarters sent out a signal. Wu clenched his fists, regretting that he didn't kill the puppeteer without extracting some more information from his mouth. There are too many strange secret arts in the ninja world, and their whereabouts were exposed so quickly. The puppet masters have a very special status in Sheian. They are usually relatively united internally. That is to say, the one who came here this time is probably the puppet master? Heitake Sakumo and Sandyan fought back and forth for countless times, and they were very familiar with the puppet masters, and there were quite a few puppet masters who died under his knife. The strongest puppeteer in Sagakushi now, should be Kazekage advisor Cho, right? But she probably won't do it herself. She was still fighting with Higakuru's Hanzo a while ago, and no one can do anything about it. If it was really someone of that level who made the move, Naoshu and the others would have been finished long ago. Although Satoru is helpless, he still has to admit that Joe should be at the peak of his strength now, and facing her is not much easier than facing Kami Hanzo directly. It's a Jonin team, 4 people in total, but there are 2 puppet masters, 1 male and 1 female, whose identities are not clear, but their strength is at least much stronger than the one we dealt with before. The other two are also jounin, but they seem to have a lower status than these two puppet masters. Wu had already guessed the identities of the two puppet masters, but it didn't matter. My shadow clone launched a large-scale ice escape and stopped them. Now Shenchu and the others have temporarily escaped their pursuit. Next, we only need to rush to the position where the shadow clone dissipates to continue the pursuit. Okay, let's go. Heitake Sakumo knew that the situation was urgent, and the two powerful puppet masters cooperated, but it was very difficult to deal with. The other party had a total of 4 jounin, and Satoshi's technique might not be able to stop them for a long time. How far is it? About 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers, in time. Sakumo Heitake made a mudra with his hands, his legs were wrapped in a blue electric current, and a gust of wind was wrapped around his body. Very well, I'm going at full speed, can you keep up? You can go forward with all your strength, and I will follow soon. Wu raised his eyebrows, he was about to see Konoha White Fang at full speed for the first time. Okay, let's go. The next moment, Heitake Sakumo disappeared in front of Satoru. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 104. Chapter 104 How to Provide Conspicuous Coordinates. Wu was messed up in the wind for a while. Heitake Sakumo's move should have used the Lightning Dungeon Chakra to activate the leg cells, and at the same time used the Wind Dungeon to accelerate. A person can maintain 2 different nature changes at the same time. Satoru only knows one person, and that is the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. When other people perform compound ninjutsu, most of them use shadow clones. Based on this move, how many people can resist his attack? You can't run away even if you run and stab in the back. After making a complaint, a burst of arcane light flashed all over Wu's body, and after a puff of smoke, a fat raven soared into the sky. Cough cough, goo. Beside a rock, the figures of Shenchu, Mikoto and Nunaiu fell. This is already very close to the border of the Kingdom of Wind, we have entered the enemy territory again. Shenchu tried his best to swallow back the blood that was about to cough up, and he didn't dare to leave any traces when he was running for his life. Senior Naoki, the ice escape ninjutsu of classmate Wu's shadow clone should be able to delay for a while, I will heal your injuries first. Thank you. Naoki took a breath, and faced with the pursuit of the 4 Shinin of Sandyin this time, he realized that his previous record of resisting the attack of a Jainin was completely useless. This time there are 2 powerful puppet masters among the enemies, and each of them can even control more than 3 puppets. Under the overwhelming firepower, Naoshi's current strongest defensive ninjutsu is completely useless. If it wasn't for the passive perception awakening and the strengthening of the body, he really couldn't imagine how miserable he would be now. Brother Shenchu, we have already run far away from the place where Wu Jun's shadow clone dissipated. Even if Wu Jun arrived in time with support, it would be difficult to find us. Mikan could hardly maintain the Sharingan, and when she met the 4 Junin, she used all her pupil power to perform the illusion, but she could only delay for a short while. Originally, before they met the previous hunting team, they had already consumed a lot of mental power due to continuous missions. After experiencing the battle with the hunting team, almost every one of them had completely exhausted their mental strength and were extremely tired. Although Satoru's transfiguration can help them recover their physical strength, their spiritual power, which is also one of the necessary elements for creating chakra, cannot be restored. After the tense battle, endless exhaustion almost overwhelmed them. If it wasn't for Wu's reminder, they might be targeted by the sand-hidden ninja, and they simply wanted to rest on the spot. Enlightenment's worry was indeed justified. Within a long time after he left, Naoki, who barely maintained his senses, sensed the approach of the enemy. Enlightenment's shadow avatar led them to fight and retreat. Finally delayed to the limit, the shadow avatar finally cast magic, created an iceberg, frozen the four chasing Jonin, together with their puppets, and disappeared into the body provide coordinates. Although the iceberg couldn't trap the four Jounin for long, it also gave the three of them a chance to escape. Mikan, don't worry, Satoru will find us in a way. Naoshu has recovered a lot after being treated by Nunaiu. Now that Wu is away, he is the temporary team leader, and he must take responsibility for the safety of the two girls. We pay attention to hiding our whereabouts when we escape, but the enemies chasing us will not hide. Satoru can easily find the traces they left behind. And we just need to keep running away and persist until they fight the enemy, then we can fight back. Mikoto nodded thoughtfully, Nawaka's side. It was only when Wu was away that I truly realized how weak we are. Wu, even a shadow clone can help us delay for so long. If he is here, even if we can't beat them, at least we won't escape in such a mess. Okay, Naraki-senpai. No Neiyu stopped the palm celestial art, and Naoki's wound had healed, and he immediately activated the secret technique Kagura Mind Eye to sense the enemy's movements. Taking advantage of this time, Mikan and Nunaiu didn't say much, and immediately closed their eyes and recovered their energy. Sure enough, in such a short time, they have already caught up. After a while, Nakoki opened his eyes suddenly, and immediately called Nanoyo and Mikoto to get up. They are wandering about 5 kilometers away, at the boundary of my perception. They found us in such a short time before, and there should be perception ninjas. They haven't found us yet, which means that their perception range is not as good as mine. This is our chance. Shenshu thought for a moment, and decisively chose not to continue approaching the border of the Kingdom of Wind, but to start a detour from the side. Let's go, even if Wu's support won't be that fast, it won't be very slow. We'll have to rely on ourselves during this period. Heitake Sakumo, who was advancing at high speed, looked serious. This mission seems to be just to rescue a Chunin team, and even after Satoshi is removed, there are only 3 Chunin. But both he and the commander, Sarutobi, knew very well that Wu's team was different. Sand Hidden should have discovered this too. They shouldn't all be aiming at the blood succession boundary, although it is indeed valuable to do so, the effect cannot be seen in a short time. Naoshu has a special status. Killing him can directly affect Tsunade and the village's senior management, not to mention that Tsunade's disciple, pharmacist Nanoyu, is also there. Uchiha Mikoto is the only Uchiha ninja who appeared on the front line in this war, and she is also a genius who has opened Urguyu at a young age. Killing or capturing her is of great value, whether it is used to provoke the already tense relationship between Uchiha and the village, or Sharingan itself. Furthermore, Mingmeng Satoru is still there. He not only represents Konoha's latest blood successor Boundary Ice Dun, but also represents his father's Mitaman consultant and Orochimaru. The value is not lower than Napeki. Such a group of current geniuses, foreseeable, and future top forces in the village, if they are cut off by Shayin in one go, they will make a lot of money. Seeing the surrounding environment, the jungle began to become thinner. Heitake Sakumo frowned. It will be there soon, but there is no movement of fighting. It seems that they are no longer here. Shua. The figure of Heitake Sakumo landed on a ground where many ice blocks were still scattered. Wu's ice escape, the technique that was activated before the shadow clone dissipated, should be this. Heitake Sakumo's advance route was basically at right angles to the escape route of Rope Tree and the others, so he easily found the long battle traces near the broken ice. The fight was quite fierce. The ability to resist proves that they have no serious problems now. It may take some time for enlightenment to catch up, so let's find them now. Boom. Heitake Sakumo opened his mouth and gave a wry smile. Okay, it's easy to find. Wu, this boy, is really surprised. The speed is so fast. Is it because of this that I was told to go first? Staring at the eye-catching huge ice wall in the distance with a toothache, Heitake Sakumo disappeared on the spot with a Shua. I was tricked. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 105. Chapter 105 Puppet Secret Technique. Satoru's eyes and hands glowed with a dazzling crystal blue light, and the huge ice wall kept rising, being shattered, and rising again. Opposite him are 4 Sandyan ninja squads. And the 2 puppet masters among them are exactly the 2 people Wu guessed. The male puppet master has red hair and a handsome face, and is wearing a traditional black puppet master robe. The female puppet master has long black hair and a pretty face, and is wearing a dark green puppet master robe. Each of them controlled the 3 puppets in black robes, with full firepower, trying to break through the blockade of the endless ice wall. And the other 2 Sagakushi Jonin, respectively, use powerful wind ninjutsu and fire ninjutsu, in conjunction with destroying Wu's ice wall. The one who used the powerful ice escape before was actually a shadow clone, so we didn't see it. Sure enough, any blood-following ninja should not be underestimated, even a young man. The red-haired male puppet master spoke seriously. With the powerful firepower of the 4 of them attacking with all their strength, they couldn't break through the defense of a mere teenage Chunin. Moreover, it was this Chunin who suddenly launched a sneak attack. At first he thought that the other party was courting death, but now it seems that the other party does have the confidence. But with this level of chakra consumption, with his age and chakra reserves, it is impossible to withstand the attacks of the 4 of us for a long time. The female puppeteer chuckled. Her voice was gentle, but her hands were not gentle at all. What an outstanding child! It would be great if Sia could be so outstanding in the future. Hee, don't worry, our son must be the best. The male puppet master said so, adding some strength to his hand. In other words, for Sia and the children in the village to have better growth conditions, we must work harder. If these young talents from Konoha grow up, I really can't imagine what the village will be suppressed in the future. This is what Kazekage-sama is worried about. If they can't take advantage of this all-out war to suppress and weaken Konoha, they will only become stronger and leave us behind. Glancing at her companions who were constantly cooperating to destroy the ice wall, the female puppet master frowned beautifully, a little worried. It's impossible for such a strong Konoha Chunin to be a foolhardy person. He's doing this now, except for exhausting his chakra, he can't hurt any of us. He appeared here by himself, which is very contrary to the law. What does he want to do? Even if he delays the time to wait for the team to meet up, is he confident that he can deal with us? Are you waiting for support from other Konoha teams? The male puppet master pondered for a moment, then shook his head slightly. The trigger of the alarm puppet is instant. We are already the fastest to get the news. It is impossible for Konoha to get the news faster than us. What's more, they won before. Being able to change positions and rest already shows that they are more vigilant. To contact and assemble with other Konoha teams, they should not have this motivation, let alone this condition. However, his approach is really too unfriendly. We still can't underestimate it. It's normal for blood-following ninjas to have some weird secret techniques. Boom. The ice wall continued to rise and crumble, and the light in Wu's eyes became more and more dazzling, which was the expression of magic exerted to the extreme. It doesn't matter if they can't find the rope tree for the time being, as long as they hold you back, that's fine. Such a big movement, as long as that guy's issue is not too stupid, he can find out. Well, you have to hold on. If that person comes first, I don't think he will greet you before making a move. Don't know who died by then. Wu didn't use any other means at all. The continuous ice wall not only defended his front, but also rose around the sand-hidden team, effectively blocking them in this area. Ah, Wu Jun, you really gave me a big surprise. A fluttering voice rang in Wu's ear, which lifted Wu's spirit. Shhh. There was a flash of lightning, followed by a gust of wind. Wu's eyes froze, and the ice wall on the side disappeared instantly. The lightning made a slight turn, flashed from the side, and then Wuxin's rising ice wall was delayed for a moment before it was destroyed. Ah! There was a scream, and Sagakushi, who was originally attacking the ice wall with the wind escape and his companion's fire escape, spurted blood and flew out. Who? The remaining 3 people didn't react at all. When the male puppet master who reacted the fastest shouted a word, their pupils shrank at the same time. They have seen this way of killing enemies on the front line. You. The male puppet master's eyes turned red, he let out a loud roar, and moved his hands together. The 3 puppets stopped attacking Wu's ice wall and turned back to defend. Scatter immediately. Ken dash. As soon as the puppets came back to defense, one of them made a piercing sound and was chopped into the air. Oh! The response is quick. The chakra dagger that exudes white light, the white hedgehog head, and Konoha Kamenin's combat vest Heitake Sakumo was blocked by the puppet in one blow, and his figure was also revealed. Konoha White Fang. The female puppeteer's exclamation came, Heitake Sakumo raised her eyebrows, and Bai Fang's short knife swung around. After the dazzling defensive knife skills, a layer of thin needles that shone dangerously dark purple fell on her side. Well, I've seen it a few times, don't use these little tricks. Heitake Sakumo was calm and rational in the fighting state, and he would not be distracted by the mere shouts to divert his attention. So it was you 2 who came here, Master Cho seems to be sad today. You are too arrogant. Konoha White Fang. The male puppet master quickly regained his composure. He understood that he must not show any flaws in front of this Konoha who had harvested the lives of many Sandyin ninjas. It turns out that the reinforcement that kid is waiting for is you. The female puppet master fluttered her hands like butterflies wearing flowers, and the 3 puppets took over her husband's opponent. How did you react so quickly? I don't have the habit of explaining my own intelligence to the enemy during combat. Heitake Sakumo brandished the dagger indifferently, and slightly diverted his attention to the remaining Hoden Kamunin. As for Feng Dunjianin, only half of his head and neck were still connected, and he was silent. Not bad, I have blocked the continuous attacks of 4 Jainin for so long, and Chakra is here to single out a Jainin. Nodding secretly, Heitake Sakumo stopped paying attention to Satoru's battle, and focused entirely on the 2 puppet masters in front of him. In that moment, the male puppet master had given up on the puppet he had slashed, and the other 2 puppets were also taken over by the female puppet master. The female puppeteer impressively controlled 5 puppets. The male puppeteer drew out a scroll. Konoha, to deal with you, we must use the means of suppressing the bottom of the box. Unfolding the scroll with a swish, the male puppeteer slapped hard on the complicated spell. Psychic art. Boom. 5 puppets in black robes of different shapes appeared next to the male puppet master. His strong self-confidence made Heitake Sakumo couldn't help squinting his eyes. 2 people, 10 puppets. Black secret technique 10 machines dual practice. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 106. Chapter 106 Anxious to Die. The legendary top puppet master, Cho, the consultant of Hidden Sand Village, relying on the powerful puppet left by the ancestor of the puppet master, Bunzaemon, can display the incomparably powerful puppet technique, White Secret Technique Kinmatsu 10 people. She can freely manipulate the essence of puppetry. The puppets known as numbers of 10 fingers can literally operate one finger, one puppet. They can also cooperate with each other to perform combined attacks and ninjutsu. With this technique, Cho once captured a city single-handedly. With Cho Doppo Sagakushi's top medical ninjutsu, no one can beat her when it comes to using poison. In the battle with the ninja demigod Sanchoyo Hanzo, who is called the Master of Poison, Cho has never suffered a disadvantage. As her son and daughter-in-law, Heitake Sakumo understood that although the male and female puppet masters in front of him were not as powerful as Cho, they made up for it through the combined puppetry of husband and wife. Their Black Secret Technique 10 machine dual performance was born for this. The two of them, apart from the particularity of the puppet, the current threat is not much weaker than the puppet master Cho. Each person controls 5 puppets, a total of 10 puppets. At the same time, they use exquisite coordination to achieve an effect similar to one person's control. Master Cho really has a great air. Heitake Sakumo looked serious, the couple in front of them, but with their name shocking the existence of Ninja World, Sandyan actually sent them out to deal with Satoru's team. It seems that the previous failure of the hunting team has greatly stimulated the top management of Shayin, and they do not even allow the possibility of another failure in this mission. It's really tricky. Wu here, dealing with Shayin Huo Dun Shangnan is not in a hurry. The previous performance was already outrageous, resisting the attacks of the 4 Jonin for so long was beyond what an ordinary genius of his age could do. But this is not a problem, the amount of chakra is large, this is the impression Wu has always given people, it is no big deal, a genius. But it would be even more outrageous to kill this Jonin now. Unlike Nadoki and the others who grew up together and experienced life and death together, Heitake Sakumo has a good reputation, but he is not very familiar with Satoru, and he doesn't want to be remembered by Konoha. Although it is very likely that Heitake Sakumo will not say much, it is always better to keep a low profile. But, this Shayin Jonin is much stronger than the previous one. That's Konoha, I didn't expect you to invite him here. Sand-hidden Jounin felt chills in his heart, the companion who assisted him just now was also a Jounin who was not much weaker than him. Unexpectedly he was cut by Konoha without anyone seeing clearly. If that guy wanted to deal with him, he probably wouldn't have swung a few more knives. But now it seems that Konoha was taken over by 2 of his own masters. These 2 are the heirs of that Joe master, and their excellent puppetry is also well known in the entire ninja world. What's more, this is 1 against 2, if you want to defeat them, even Konoha can't do it. Konoha White Fang had sneaked and assassinated the weakest of them in the beginning, but now he is left to be dealt with by the young Chunin on the opposite side. Maybe, this is my chance. Whether Konoha wants to train this Chunin, or the pressure from the 2 adults makes him unable to get away, in short, he is not a threat to me now. If I can catch this ice escape kid, given how much Konoha attaches importance to his team, he will definitely show his flaws, and he won't even dare to fight again. In this way, the great credit for this day, will also be shared by me. The crystal blue light in Wu's eyes slowly dissipated, and he didn't mind chatting with this frightened Sagan Kamijino for a while, but what's the matter with the cloudy look on the other side? What is he happy about in this situation? That face is almost distorted, do you want to laugh but dare not laugh? Suffering from persecution paranoia? Really, you are still distracted now, are you looking for death? Satoru's venomous tongue managed to wake up Shinin who was making a fatal mistake. However, he was not surprised but happy. I guessed right, this brat has already consumed too much chakra, for the ice escape of the size just now, he is just bluffing now. Heh, it's so dangerous, I was almost deceived by you, cunning boy. With an expression of I see through your tricks, Sagakushi Jonin pulled out Konoha to attack the inexplicable Satoru. Are you looking for death? You will know if you try. Shua. The superb teleportation technique made Sagakushi Jonin approach Satoru in an instant, and a flash of light flashed in his eyes. Don't worry, I won't kill you, I still want, a poof. Sagakushi Jonin was blown away by Satoshi's shockwave, and couldn't finish the second half of his sentence. It's really inexplicable, aren't you looking for death? Enlightenment was a little helpless, honestly performing ninjutsu to fight back. You have to fight in close quarters, so how can you call a mage to hide your strength? You. Frost Nova. Wow. As soon as Sagakure Jonin stood firmly on the ground, he wanted to do a backflip and retreat, but before he could take off, his feet were frozen by a well-placed ice ring, which made him lose his footing and almost fell over. Damn it! Shayan Shangren became angry from embarrassment, put away the kunao, and formed a seal with both hands. In this case, let me see how much chakra you have left. Fire escape fire dragon flame bomb. Boom! The three fire dragons roared and were sprayed out by Saiyan Jonin, circling and attacking from the left, center, and right, and charged directly at Xiangguo. Sagano knew that without the support of his teammates' wind escape, the less powerful fire escape ninjutsu was not even enough to penetrate Wu's ice wall protection quickly and efficiently. Therefore, this ninjutsu, which is the most powerful in the fire escape, is his first choice now. As a dignified ninjutsu, chakra can perform this kind of B-level ninjutsu in a large amount, and there is still no pressure. Sure enough, Sagano Shinobu looked as expected as he watched an ice wall summoned by Satoru be blasted into pieces by the roaring fire dragon, and a large cloud of steam spread out. Boy! If you don't beg for mercy, just wait until it turns into ashes. Are you telling a joke? Satoshi's plain voice sounded behind him, and Shinobu's complexion instantly became stiff. He already felt the burning sensation behind his back. This Konoha Chunin of ice escape blood successor boundary is equally powerful as fire escape. With chakras all over his feet, Sagakushi Jonin made the correct judgment. Don't look back, just run. Moreover, most of the fire escape ninjutsu attacks in a straight line, especially at such a short distance. It is completely unable to take advantage of the large attack area of the fire escape. Just use blink to the side to dodge. Boom! As soon as he landed, Sagakushi Jonin, who secretly praised himself for his quick reflexes, was hit by the turned pyroblast. Ah! It's smelly. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 107. Chapter 107. You say you don't have enough chakra? Shinobu was burned to the ground and fell to the ground, but he seemed much more difficult to deal with than the opponents Wu had encountered before. Ahem. Sagano Shinobu struggled to stand up, a layer of soil fell off his body surface, but there was still a smell of barbecue. Huh. Are you always maintaining the earth-done defense? It's a pity that it's not sand, but this, beggar chicken? The art of sand control, since it was researched by the second generation of Kazekage, has basically only been spread among Kazekage, and it has almost become the signature of Kazekage. That is to say, in the current hidden sand village, only the third generation of Kazekage can perform a complete sand control technique. However, the third generation of Kazekage usually uses his own blood succession limit, magnetic escape, so the sand control technique, which is essentially similar to controlling ninja tools, is rarely used. At first, Wu thought that the protective layer of sand hidden shinen was the art of sand control, but after careful observation, it was still earth done. In Sand Hidden Village, apart from Kazekage, ordinary ninjas can at most use two-handed sand clones, sand doubles and other superficial sand control techniques, which are also close to the variants of Tudun. Advanced skills like sand armor have never been seen in ordinary sand hidden ninjas. As expected of a Jonin who can partner with those two, although his brain is a little funny, his strength is not weak. Wu raised his eyebrows. It's normal that he failed to kill the opponent with a set of combos. In order to delay the time, he only read the pyroblast for 2 seconds. It seems that strength is the guarantee that this guy with a bad brain can still live until now. Damn it, you bastard, I understand now. Sagakushi Kami Shinobu took a few breaths. Konoha Shireto, I have a lot of confidence in you. Sagakushi Kamiyan endured the severe pain, looked at the calm Satoru with a complex expression, and understood that Heitake Sakumo didn't have time to deal with him, but knew that he didn't need to deal with him. It's nothing to be ignored by Konoha, but being beaten like this by a Chunin. If it wasn't for his thorough study of Earth Dun's defense and Fire Duke's attack, he would have fallen straight this time. He didn't even have time to use the body substitution technique for that elusive teleportation technique. I won't aim to catch you anymore. Sure enough, a Konoha genius like you, it's better to die. Oh. Sensing the resolute killing intent of Sagakushi Jonin on the opposite side, Wu touched his chin. He didn't expect that a pyroblast blow would blow the opponent sober. However, this is also in line with his original intention of delaying time. Watching the battle between Heitake Sakumo and the two puppet masters, Wu guessed that they still needed to fight for a while. Even Konoha Shirato couldn't take down this couple who had inherited the skills of the puppet master Cho in a short time. Tisk, the chakra is a bit insufficient, and I need to save some more. As Satoru said this, Sagakushi Jonin on the opposite side felt a surge of enthusiasm. The cold air around the opponent was overwhelming, and the area was getting bigger and bigger, soon covering their battlefield. Even the sky began to have snowflakes flying. Even the small-scale celestial phenomena have changed, and they are talking about saving chakra. How much chakra does this guy have? Huh? Those sand ninjas haven't caught up yet? Activated Kagura Mind Eye again. Nakoki opened his eyes with some doubts, and Mikoto and Nanoyu, who were resting quickly, also looked over. Why, senior brother Naoki, can't you perceive their chakra? Mikoto asked. Shengshu thought about it carefully, and shook his head with some doubts. Since the last time they sensed their chakra, it has been the length of their previous pursuit, and they have not sensed it again. We are usually chased by them within half an hour and within my range of perception, but it has been 40 minutes now, and there is still no movement. Will they give up? Nanayu's tense face relaxed, or did they lose track? We have tried our best to eliminate the traces. Probably not. Zisha shook his head when he heard the words. They all caught up very quickly before, which means that the traces we eliminated are still very obvious to them. After all, this is their rear, and it is natural for them to be familiar with the terrain, but this time it is a bit unusual. Could it be that Wu Jun came with reinforcements? Mikan's eyes lit up, and she became a little excited. We planned this from the beginning, didn't we? But it's too fast. Under normal circumstances, it would be good for Satoru to start from the base now. Shengshu hesitated for a moment. Although he was a little surprised by the situation, he still didn't want to let go of this best possibility. Let's go back. With my perception, even if we meet, we should be able to find their traces in advance. If the reinforcements arrive, there is no point in continuing to flee. If there are other problems, we can still continue to flee. Good. Shenshu's decision was agreed by the two girls, and the three cheered up and returned the same way. Stop. After advancing for a while, Naoki raised his palm. Mikoto and Nanoyu immediately stopped and came to Naoki's side. This is the chakra of 5 people. One of them is particularly strong, surpassing the 2 puppet masters of Shaiin. Shengshu was refreshed, and every time he moved forward for a short distance, he would stop to sense it, and just now, he finally sensed the chakra of the sand-hidden chasing team. And the chakra is fluctuating violently, it's fighting. The current rope tree has no way to distinguish the identity of the corresponding ninja at such a long distance through the characteristics of chakra, but the intensity can still be perceived roughly. One of the chakras is quite calm and basically hasn't changed much. This should be Wu. Ever since Nakoki had the ability to sense chakra, he was impressed by Satoru's chakra characteristics. Wu-Wu's chakra seldom fluctuates, just like a fixed container, and he doesn't know how his powerful spells are performed. However, there are many kinds of strange chakras. This may be Wu's unique secret technique, but it is almost a unique feature, and it can also help Naoki determine Wu's identity. Of the 5 chakra reactions, 4 are fluctuating violently, and the remaining 1 cannot be watching a show, So if there is no fluctuation during the battle, then the biggest possibility is enlightenment. He has rushed back. 5 people? But if one of them is Wu, the other 4 are all enemies. No, Nayu bit his lower lip nervously. Wu didn't invite reinforcements. Is he fighting Sand Yin's team alone? Those are 4 Jounin. No, Nanoyu, didn't you pay attention to what Brother Naoki said? There is a powerful chakra reaction that has never been seen before. Mikoto keenly noticed the details that Naoki sensed. That is to say, Wu Jun invited a powerful elite Jonin, and has already killed an enemy. That's right, it should be like this. Sheng Shu tightened his forehead in excitement, and waved his arm. Let's go. In this case, if we join the battle will end soon. I can't wait to see how ugly Sha Yin's gang will look. Ha ha ha. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 108. Chapter 108. The Puppet's Sacrifice. Of the 10 puppets of various shapes and powerful power, only 3 were left, barely tossing and turning. The other 7 were basically in tatters and lost their threat. Even if it can move, it is completely invulnerable to attack. But they can also play the most basic defensive role, and are used by the owner as a means of life-saving. The last one is completely destroyed and unable to move. Despair, deep despair, shrouded the hearts of the puppet master couple. It's not that they don't know Konoha's strength, but as a powerful puppet technique that disdains the Sand Hermit elite Jonin class, even countries are afraid of it. It's not like they haven't seen Konoha White Fang's fang-like blades on the battlefield, but cutting teammates and cutting themselves feels completely different. In the past, I thought that the people you knocked down easily were because they were not strong enough, but now. Trying his best to dodge the White Fang dagger exuding glaring white light in embarrassment, the male puppet master smiled wryly at his past ignorance. Being famous, it's actually us who are hard to live up to. Shoo. Looking at his wife, they saw the same thing in each other's eyes. Decisive, determined, and regretful. Konoha, it is a kind of luck to die in the hands of a strong man like you. It's just a pity. Xia, Mom, and Dad are sorry for you. Master, I'm sorry, Xia, I'll leave it to you. Heitake Sakumo also saw the will to die in the enemy's eyes. He pursed his lips and remained silent for a moment. This is the case in battlefield confrontation. Konoha, with this move, you can step on our husband and wife and become famous in the ninja world. The male puppet master roared angrily, and together with his wife, broke out the last chakra regardless of the cost. Countless thick chakra puppet lines erupted from their bodies. Although they did not roll their eyes, they are good at puppets, and their understanding of the human body can be said to exceed most ninjas. Exploding chakra with the will to die, they can burst puppet threads from the chakra acupuncture points all over their bodies in a short time. The male puppeteer roared angrily, and the erupting puppet string bound Sakumo Heitake tightly like a storm. The chakra puppet strings on the female puppet master stretched to the key parts of the 7 beheaded puppets scattered on the ground. Black secret technique, puppet sacrifice explosion. The husband and wife yelled loudly and quickly formed seals. In an instant, the puppets, fragments, and even the chakra puppet strings all exploded. Konoha White Fang. Let's die together. Boom long. When Naoki and the others rushed to the battlefield, what they saw was the scene of Heitake Sakumo being dragged by the final explosion of the 2 puppet masters. That's Master Sakumo. Naoki, Mikoto, and Nanoyu opened their mouths wide. It turned out that Satoru had invited Konoha White Fang Heitake Sakumo. No wonder the Sand Hidden team lost 1 member so quickly. But now, Master Sakumo. Rope Tree and the others knew very well the importance of Sakumo Heitake. He is even one of the banners on the front line of the war between Konoha and Sand Hidden, if this lord is lost in order to save their ninjas. Gritting his teeth, Nakoki was about to rush forward, but was grabbed by Mikoto. Wait, brother Nesuke. In the scarlet pupils, the two hook jades slowly rotated, and Mikoto had already seen the details that Naoki didn't see clearly. Lord Sakumo, he's fine, I can see his chakra. This. In the next moment, Nakoki saw that next to the tragic explosion center, the ground suddenly cracked, and the figure of Heitake Sakumo rushed out of it. Ahem. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Heitake Sakumo gasped a few times. Although he successfully avoided the explosion by using the earth escape technique, even he could not be unaffected by the joint explosion of 10 puppets. A few broken ribs, as expected of the successors of Master Cho, this determination is as outstanding as their strength. At the last moment, Heitake Sakumo seemed to have a chance to completely escape the death of the puppet master and his wife, but their words aroused some emotions in his heart. His wife is also pregnant. If Shayin village can be suppressed, maybe he can return to the village in time to witness the birth of the child. Heh, for the sake of the children, why not for us? Lord Shuomo. Heitake Sakumo raised his head, looked at the three Nakoki who rushed over, and showed a gentle smile. Oh, it's great that you're all fine. Master Shuomao, Mikan, and I are going to Wu's side. Nanayu, please give Master Shuomao some treatment. Naoki hurriedly saluted Heitake Sakumo, but he was really worried about the situation on Satoru's side. On the other side of the battle between Satoru and Sandyin Jonin, suddenly there is no momentum for a while. Satoru, is something wrong? Seeing how Heitake Sakumo was spitting blood, Nanoyu hurried forward, took out the medical equipment, and started the treatment. Don't worry, Wu is fine, look, he's here. Naoshu and the others turned their heads to look, and saw Wuhan walking over unhurriedly, with a chill all over his body. Enlightenment. Wu Jun. Student Wu. With 3 shouts, Wu's expression became a little more subtle. The 3 of you can really run, but the methods you use to cover up your traces are too rough. After being complained by Wu, Naoki scratched his head in embarrassment, and quickly changed the topic. Wu, did you take care of that sand ghost Jonin? No, in order to hold them back, my chakra was almost exhausted, and it's not easy to hold him back. Satoru flirtatiously gave Nakoki a wink, making Nakoki, who was about to complain about your chakra strength hasn't changed, wisely shut up. The momentum here was too strong just now. Seeing how powerful Master Shuomao is, that guy ran away in fright. I was powerless to stop him. That's it? Heitake Sakumo nodded and praised. Wu, it's very rare for you to be able to hold him back for so long. These 2 puppet masters have a lot of background, and the Jonin who is partnering with them, even if they are not elite Jonin, are still very good. Didn't you kill one in seconds just by meeting? Looking at the billowing smoke of the explosion that still hasn't dissipated, Wu resolutely continued the business bragging. The status of these 2 people on Shayin's side should be similar to Lord Shuomao's, right? This time they were all cut off by Lord Shuomao. If the news spreads, Shayin's side may be in chaos. Hey, Wu, Shengshu quietly clung to Wu's side, whispering. Could it be for this reason that you deliberately let go of that ninja? You guys will run out of chakra? Are you better than me? How can it be? Master Shuomao is here, how could I make such a decision without authorization? Master Shuomao is too strong, the enemy blew himself up, and he vomited blood. The enemy was terrified, so they ran away with all their strength. I am a mere Jonin, how can I stop it, right? The corners of his mouth twitched, seeing Satoru's threatening eyes, Shengshu secretly complained. I believe you are a ghost. Finish the 2 chapters together, this battle is over. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 109. Chapter 109 Temporary Calm. Just as Satoru speculated, the two puppet masters of Sagakure were beheaded by Konoha White Fang Heitake Sakumo single-handedly, and the news was passed to the senior management of both sides immediately. The escaped Sand Hidden Shinin carefully narrated what happened. Although Satoshi's combat power and the amazing ice escape blood succession limit shocked the senior management of Sand Hidden Village. But most importantly, the prestige of Konoha White Fang really resounded throughout the ninja world. Originally, in the front-line war, no matter how powerful a strong man like Heitake Sakumo was against ordinary jonin, it was just a myth on the battlefield. But in the one-on-two heads-up, beheading the most outstanding heir of the puppet master Cho, her son and daughter-in-law, has already demonstrated Heitake Sakumo's personal combat power to the fullest. Shayin Village knows best how strong a puppet master can perform 10 machine exercises. The forces that were attacked by puppets in Hidden Sand Village are also clear. No matter how strong Konoha's blood succession limit is, it only has the potential to become a top powerhouse. But Konoha is a top powerhouse who has grown up. His prestige alone weighed down Shayin's entire line of defense. With Konoha's morale booming and Sand Hermit's morale frustrated, this battle line that Sand Hermit tried his best to build was eventually pushed back to the border between the two countries by Konoha within half a year. In the battle on the border between the two countries, the puppet master Cho, who lost his beloved son and daughter-in-law in Shayin Village, took action in person. The powerful puppet technique, the white secret technique of 10 people in Kimatsu, and the poisonous attack that is not inferior to that of the leader of Yuyin Village, Sanchoyo Hanzo, caused huge losses to Konoha ninja. Even Heitake Sakumo, there is no good way to deal with Joe's poison. In order to suppress Joe's poison, Konoha had to temporarily relax his offensive against the Rain Country, and sent the strongest medical ninja Tsunade to the front line to fight against Joe. Tsunade lived up to everyone's expectations. His powerful medical ninjutsu cracked all the poisons used by Cho. In the situation where Sand Hidden is gradually collapsing, Konoha has emerged a large number of outstanding new generation ninjas. Mitaman Satoru, Nawake, Uchiha Mikoto, Yakushi Nanu, and Satoru's team have become the best among them with their unique record of beheading the Sagano Shinobi team alone. Konoha's ancient combination of Hyuga clan and Inaga Butterfly showed the outstanding demeanor of the contemporary heirs in this war. And the students of the Jonin also gradually grew up in this war, and the outstanding ninjas who can stand on their own show their own demeanor. Under the overwhelming advantage that Konoha has gradually accumulated without any shortcomings, Sandyin finally had to compromise. The third generation of Kazekage at that time, even if he was called the strongest Kazekage in history, he did not dare to go to the front line to suppress the situation. Because Konoha is known as the ninjutsu professor, who is proficient in nearly 1,000 kinds of ninjutsu, the strongest kage of the contemporary era, the third generation of Naruto Sarutobi Hiruzen. Relying on the blood successor boundary Magneto, the three Kazekages are still not the opponents of the three Hokages. As soon as Kazekage moves, Hokage will inevitably move. If the war evolves into a shadow battle, then there is no room for turning around. Therefore, Sandai Kazekage decisively announced that Konoha's victory was recognized. Sand Hidden Village withdrew from this war, and signed an armistice agreement. The defeat and withdrawal of Hidden Sand Village gave Konoha ninjas a rare chance to rest. After the armistice agreement was signed, Hidden Sand Village left its regular border guards and withdrew the village. Konoha's next focus of the war was logically transferred to the Land of Rain. The war environment in the Land of Rain is much worse than that at the junction of the two countries. Among the Konoha ninjas, there are more ninjas who are good at fire escape ninjutsu than other ninjas. In the Land of the Rain, where it rains all the year round, they fought against the Rain Hidden ninjas led by Sanchoyo Hanzo, who were good at water escape, poison and assassination, and the strength of the Konoha ninjas was greatly suppressed. Moreover, although the ability to use poison is comparable to that of Cho, Tsunade can break Cho's poison, but cannot break Hanzo's poison. Because Cho is human after all, she is a medical ninja. Although her poison is weird in nature, it is aimed at small-scale battles, not the army. But Hanzo's poison is different. His psychic beast, the highly poisonous Sanjiao fish, combined with Hanzo himself, is simply a poisonous anti-army treasure. With the rainy environment of the country of rain, the large-scale lethality to the army is even blocked by Tsunade. No. It is impossible for her to carry the medicine for the army and make so many antidotes in time in front of the battle. Coupled with Hanzo's personal strength, the rain-hidden ninjas he leads are no less threatening than sand-hidden villages, one of the 5 hidden villages. In particular, around the time when Konoha and Sandyin signed the armistice agreement, Yunyan village in the Land of Thunder and Yinyan village in the Land of Earth became more and more angry. The 3 generations of Tsukiji Onoki and Hanzo exchanged letters in secret, and the army in the Land of Rain was shrunk dramatically, and changed to a border guard, to deal with the even more threatening Yunyan village. Onoki was not worried about what Hanzo would do to attack the land of the land. He offered to withdraw the troops, which relieved Hanzo that he could deal with Konoha with all his strength, and Onoki could also use Konoha to hold Hanzo back. From allies to enemies, the 2 sides have maintained a tacit understanding and lived in peace. In the face of interests, there are neither permanent friends nor permanent enemies. The relationship between the 2 countries is the true portrayal of this sentence. The war in the Land of Rain has entered into a strange period of calm following the signing of the armistice agreement between Konoha and Yinyan, and the secret agreement between Yunyan and Yinyan. But senior officials on both sides know that this is just the calm before the storm. Both sides need to redeploy their forces and gather forces to deal with the next confrontation. Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade have made great achievements in the Rain country during this period of time. Like Hatake Sakumo and most of the anti-sand hidden combat team, they will return to the village for a rest in order to concentrate on dealing with the upcoming storm. The brutal Rain country war. When this quiet period will be broken, no one knows. But with the elites of Umbu monitoring the movement on the front line, Konoha could react immediately. Finally back to the village again. The Konoha gate could already be seen, Nesuke cheered, and the ninjas also cheered. It is already a very difficult thing to be able to survive the staged tragic war. Many of their familiar partners, who were still talking and laughing with them before leaving the village, were full of longing for the future, but now they have turned into corpses and were sent back to the village. This is not bad, after all, many people who died on the battlefield could not even find their bodies. For Wu, being able to stay away from the battlefield and stay at home is really a good life that he has not enjoyed in the past few years. Wu, I'll go find you tomorrow. After Shenshu finished speaking, he turned around and ran away, making Wu feel a little dizzy. Wu Jun, I'm going back first. I'm so happy. After Mikoto finished speaking, her eyes lit up, and she also ran away. Student Wu, welcome to the hospital. No, 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 don't come. It doesn't seem right. No, Naiu blushed and ran away. Ha! Enlightenment was a little messed up in the wind. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 110. Chapter 110. This trick is really good. The next morning, just as the sun rose above the window, Wu suddenly opened his eyes and woke up from his sleep. Maybe it was because he was not used to returning to the quiet village suddenly, but Satoru still maintained his vigilance on the battlefield. Huh, so early. Glancing at the alarm clock next to the bed, Wu scratched his head, got up and changed his clothes. Last night, Father Mito Minyan first celebrated Wu's safe return, and then praised Wuda. Recently, Team Wu's record is comparable to the team composed of Jonin. Afterwards, Mitoman N told Satoshi a piece of good news: Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, will be directly promoted to Chunin for those who performed well in this phase of the war. Just like enlightenment at the time, after all, it is now a war, and there is not so much energy to organize the Chunin exam, and the performance in the war is much higher than the gold content of the Chunin exam. In other words, Squad Wu will be a genuine Chunin squad in the future. Mitamonian went to work early in the morning. With so many main combatants returning to the village, he had a lot of work to do. The promotion ceremony will be held in 3 days. During these 3 days, Wu can take a good rest and relax. Boom boom boom. The window glass was knocked, and Wu looked at the window with a speechless face. It was not Dingzhou, but Naishu. Hey, hello, does my house have a door? Even so, Satoru opened the window, and let in Naomi, who seemed to have something on his mind. What's wrong? You're about to become a Chunin, aren't you happy? Wu yawned, shook his head, and picked up the toiletries. Have you got a meal yet? Without? It's so natural. Nonsense, what do you want for breakfast when you come here? I want Coke and chocolate cake. Sheng Shu laughed and made an unreasonable request. Nutrition is not a problem, lunch and dinner will make up for it. Wait. Satoru grinned and went downstairs to wash up. This guy Shenshu came to find him so early, there must be something. So, tell me, what's the matter? Swallowing the delicious magic snack, Wu stretched his waist and asked again. Well, Wu, I feel that my strength is still too weak. Sheng Shu was silent for a long while, and finally spoke in frustration. You are so much younger than me, but if you really fight, how many can you fight? 3. Or 4. Not weak. Wu couldn't help complaining, how many people of your age do you think can surpass you? As for me, I'm a special case, don't you just look at these special cases, right? The problem is, those guys who are not special won't hang around in front of me all the time. Sheng Shu rolled his eyes, and shouted confidently. I've been under a lot of pressure in front of you, a top genius. Okay, so, what are your plans? Just as Wu finished speaking listlessly, he was suddenly taken aback. Wait, don't you mean to? That's right. Sheng Shu stared, grabbed Wu's hand, which made Wu's skin crawl. Wait a minute. Enlightenment. I know, compared to your strength, you use your brain better. All the changes in my body are due to you. My sister has already told me that the project you and Mr. Ashimaru are working on is possible. My grandfather, the living cells of the first generation of Hokage Senshoujujian, and the would escape blood successor limit that no one can use now. He smacked his lips with some toothache, and Wu calmly withdrew his hand from Naishu's claws, and looked him up and down for a while. Tisk. Are you addicted to being a guinea pig? Do you know what a dangerous path this is? The crystallization of life that saved you last time completely removed the genetic information. Its pure vitality belongs to the most harmless type. Even if it's out of control, at most I'll let you develop earlier, grow taller, and look more mature, just like this. You, a descendant of blood, need the cooperation. And the Mudun Sweji boundary is not the kind of gentle thing. If this thing gets out of control, it will kill people. There have been countless bloody examples in these years. Satoru's face became more serious as he spoke, and he frowned when he thought of the ninjas who volunteered to serve as experimental subjects for the study of Hashirama cells. It's too dangerous, even you have to wait until the research is mature enough. The research results at this stage are far from enough to support safe experiments. I've already discussed this matter with my sister. Naoki was silent for a moment, then suddenly spoke, causing Gaku's eyes to widen. Are you kidding? Tsunade's younger brother, I mean Master Tsunade loves you so much, she will let you take such a risk. When she was using the life crystal, she was so nervous. Expressionlessly ignoring some bad words in Weavyu's words, Shenshu pointed to himself and said seriously. I am the grandson of the first generation of Hokage, the younger brother of Konoha's strongest medical ninja Tsunade, and the disciple of the genius elite Jonin Orochimaru, and I am still your genius teammate. If I don't dare to take these risks, how can I talk about my dream of becoming Hokage? With a flash of Naoki's figure, amidst Satoshi's speechless expression, he instantly assumed the pose of Dogza. Enlightenment. Please. My sister said that Mr. Ashimaru will definitely agree to this matter, but without you, this matter cannot be done. I also want to be able to be alone when the enemy is strong, instead of relying on you to save me every time. You really learned this move very well. Satoru's lips moved, but he still didn't say the words. No one in the entire ninja world could refuse Dogza from the first Hokage Senjubashima. His grandson Soil Seed. At least Wu could not refuse. Okay, you get up first, you're not Hokage, what are you doing kneeling so neatly? Wu reluctantly got up and helped Chenshu up, and then suddenly found even more helplessly that Chenshu, who was more than 14 years old, was a head taller than himself who was less than 13 years old. Huh? Does Hokage like to kneel? Chenshu stood up, and instantly entered the confused mode again. Grandma said, this is a very grand etiquette. No, it's nothing. It's indeed a very grand etiquette. The stronger the strength, the more grand it is. After hearing Naoki's words, Satoru suddenly reacted and pulled Naoki over. Hey! You guys won't tell Mito-sama the matter? No. How can it be? If Grandma finds out, sister will be punished. Shengshu hurriedly shook his head, so, the 3 generations of Hokage-sama also don't know, let them know if it succeeds. My sister said that she will personally participate in this research, so Wu, you can rest assured that there is no problem with safety. These siblings are so bold. And they have already won the support of Orochimaru, who is not too big a deal. What else can I do? I can only try my best to promote the success of the research. Then, the goal is to produce results before the war starts again.